Most people don't know this, but signs like white coating on your tongue, chronic fatigue, running again and again to the washroom, getting recurrent yeast infections, or skin rashes, these are all signs of a fungal infection. Turns out a blood test doesn't reveal whether you have fungus or not, but six other tests can tell you pretty decisively whether a fungus infection is causing your symptoms or not. You can test via blood, stool, urine, DNA, saliva, or swabs. In this video, I'm going to go through each one of these tests. I'll tell you how expensive they are and when you should do them to find out if your symptoms are being caused by fungus or not. Let's get started. You can start with something as simple as an antibodies test. Essentially, when you have fungus in your body responds by making antibodies to fight the fungus. If you test how many antibodies there are in your blood, you will know whether you have a fungal infection or not. So the way to do this is a Candida antibodies test. Candida is the most common type of fungus that infects the human body. Now, there are two types of tests you'll get in this. The first one is an IgM test. This tests for an active infection, meaning whether you currently have a fungal infection or not. And the second type is an IgG test. This tells me if you had the infection in the past or if it's an older infection. Higher values on either of these tests tell you that the problem you're dealing with is a fungal infection. But there is one limitation. If you already have a very compromised or weak immune system, these tests may not be accurate because your body does not make enough antibodies because your immune system is already weak. Sometimes the fungal infection may be in your gut, and here instead of a blood test, a stool test is preferred. Essentially, you're testing your stool to see whether you have traces of fungus or not. If yes, it means there's the fungus infection that you need to deal with. There's a problem with the stool test though. If your fungus is in another part of the body, like your skin, your genitals, or your mouth, then the stool test will appear normal, but the fungus is still there. When fungus comes in your body, the waste it creates comes out through your urine. That's why testing your urine is a very effective way of knowing if you have a fungal infection or not. Perhaps the best way to do this, and an expensive way to do this, is the OATS test, the organic acids test. Here they test for something called arabinitol. That tells you that if that level is high, you're probably dealing with a fungal infection in your body. So far, all the tests have been looking at fungus in an indirect manner. Right? You're looking at the waste product it produces or something else in terms of the antibody response of the body, and you're trying to guess whether there is fungus in the body or not. The direct way of doing this is a DNA PCR test. You're essentially checking the DNA level whether fungus exists or not. As you can imagine, this is extremely expensive and it's not very commonly done across India. The next one is a swab. A lot of fungal infections actually happen for females, for example, on the skin or the genital area. So if you're looking to identify whether you have fungus or not, what you're doing is you're taking a cotton swab of the area and then sending it to the lab for testing, is that swab containing fungus or not. Now, if a lot of this testing seems difficult to do, unavailable in your area, or just too expensive, the simplest at-home test to check for fungus is the spit test. You just spit into a glass of water. You're looking for a few signs. You're looking for thick strings, cloudiness in the water, or even particles. If you see this, it's usually an indication that you may have a fungal infection. Now, let me be clear, this is not a replacement for any test. In fact, this method is extremely inaccurate, but it might give you an indication that your body is not in the state that it should be, and fungus may be one of the causes. So, to quickly summarize, which test should you do when? If you feel the problem is with your digestion, then you should probably start with a stool fungal test. If you feel the problem is different, maybe in your oral area or on your skin, you might want to consider a antibodies test. If you feel the problem is even more severe and you have the money available to you, then perhaps the gold standard to try for is the OATS test, meaning the urine test. Honestly, this is the category and the approach that I would take if I was trying to resolve my own fungal infection. Goes without saying, our experts at Hug are trained to identify and read every single one of these tests. So if you've done them or you're considering getting them done and you want a free second opinion, reach out to us on the number below and our team will be more than happy to help you. All the best.